Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me once again. Today's scripture is going to be, or the book, should I say, that we're going to be talking about is the book of John. Okay, the book of John is one of those books that I enjoyed reading because it has so many different twists and perceptions about that book. First and foremost, I like to say in the book of John, now to each his own, but what I've noticed and become very aware of is that majority of all churches, religions, preachers, pastors have practiced their ministry under the ideology of John. Everyone has always heard of John the Baptist, okay? In the book of John, it's very important for us to even understand that book because John is actually speaking of who came after me is actually preferred before me, and he's talking about Jesus, okay? But in hindsight, he's also talking about God. So I want to read for everyone a couple of scriptures in the book of John that is very important to get these perceptions of these scriptures because it helps you understand how creation works, okay? So we're going to start off from the book of John. We're going to be reading off John 1 through John 1:5. And then also I'm going to throw in, there's another scripture, John 1:10, that I'm going to fit right in between because when you read these scriptures, all these scriptures are not in order, okay? In order to truly get these scriptures, the story has to be embedded in the person's understanding of the law of creation. So here we go. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. The light shineth in the darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us. In the beginning was the Word. God spoke a word. Whatever word God spoke, it manifested. Okay? All things were made by him, and without him, meaning without God, was not anything made that was made. So, this brings me to more of an understanding of the law of creation. So what John is basically saying is this: without God, without the understanding of God, without the creation of God and how to utilize God's power to manifest the things in that you want, or the things that you want to create, or the things that you want to make. These are the things in which John is sharing with us through scripture, through prophecy. Let me give you an example. It said all things were made by him, and without him not anything was made that was made. So if I ask you guys a question, who made these? Most likely you would say Jabra made these, or it was made in China. Okay, let's take this. You would ask yourself, or a question that I would ask you, who made this? Another question I would ask you is, who made this? How about who made this? That's a question that everyone should be asking themselves. However, through society, through programming, we've been led to believe that man has made everything that is made. And because of that understanding, we have totally left God out of the equation. But scripture is definitely telling us who made the things in which we see today in front of our eyes, what we call reality or materialistic things. So without him, not anything was made that was made. So I would ask each and every one of you all, who made this? We've been so conditioned, like I was saying before I got cut off, to believe, perceive that man is making all these material things that we see in our everyday life, in our world. That's not true. God has made everything on the face of this earth. How did he make it? God uses man God operates through man's imagination. That's how God works. That's why in scripture, as it says, all things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the world. This is coming from John 1:10. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. So that's exactly what I'm explaining. See, the world didn't know that everything that was being made was made by God. They think that everything that was made by man's hands. This is what scripture is trying to explain to everyone, not to leave God out. How we've been conditioned to understand that everything that is made is by a man. But who has made man? And through that man, what was going through that man that gave that man that understanding in order to make the thing in which that guy made? So without the understanding of the imagination, which is God, okay, it says that in scripture. You got to hear that. So not anything was made, and the world was made by him. Everything was made by him. And the world didn't know that everything was made by God himself, as it teaches us in scripture. So everything that you view, who made, okay, let's get a little bit deeper into this. Who came up with gravity? Who came up with science? Who came up with mathematics? Who came up with buildings? Who came up with automobiles? We look at the person rather than looking or trying to even understand how could that person, or should I say, what is it was with this person that came upon them to give them the ideology to create, make, or invent the things in which we see today. Einstein, Newton, all these big names, Amazon, Fred Bezos, Sam Walton, they did not, what you see manifest before you started within their own imagination. They focused on that particular item day in and day out. Not a lot of people understand it at this level that I'm speaking, to say that God is your own wonderful human imagination. If people can truly hear what John has opened up and revealed for the common reader to discern, try to understand, because it's almost self-explanatory once you really hear it and hear it the correct way. So I wanted to kind of drop that by you guys to allow each and every one of you guys to know that what's ever in this world, God has already made it. Okay? If you want to create something, you have to go to God in order for you to have and to want to experience life to the fullest. With that being said, may God continue to walk in you, through you, and as you, from the God in me to the God in you. Love, peace, and blessings. Love each and every one of you guys. See you on my next video. Bye.